Hey everybody, how's it going? Alright, well, we're doing what we do best on this channel, and that is jam Temur Rhinos. There are other decks, like Food Chain and Temur Delver, that I guess I could play, but I don't love for various reasons. But in this scam-led metagame, I think that Rhinos has a pretty positive scam matchup. With all the access to Endurance and Inevitable Betrayal. And so there's some talk in the Rhinos Discord about playing Dismember in the sideboard by Oliver _W8. And that is what we're going to try out today. I guess this would probably normally be some copies of Fury is what I would play. In a build with 2 Endurances in the main and 2 in the sideboard. It kind of opens up a couple extra sideboard slots. In a lot of sideboard slots, you'd probably see Mystical Dispute where these Hullbreachers are. I'm not playing any of that nonsense. And then we have Endurance in the main deck. Mystical Dispute slots. And I'm also playing a random Murktide Regent. There's just one extra slot in the deck. Because, I want 3 Lorien Revealed, 7 Spirit Guides, 19 lands, 3 Brazen Borrower, 4 Fire and Ice. It just leaves me with one extra spot here. And I'm really not interested in the 4th Lorien Revealed, as I just don't think it's that good. And we have all kinds of comes into play. Like, you need a mana to get this thing started, which is similar to the comes into play tapped effect on Thundering Falls. I just don't want that much of it. So we'll see if we're punished. We've cut a Wasteland into a Boseiju, which taps for mana much better as a part of that change, and I guess we'll see how it fares here. But anyway, it all means I have one extra slot. I don't hate the Murktide Regent. So not too crazy of a build here. Dismember in the sideboard, that's new. But in general, when I'm playing this deck, I want to play as many bombs as possible. I think this plays a bunch of bombs. And Dismember, the easiest way to beat goblins is just to kill their sticker goblin while that trigger is on the stack, because then the trigger fizzles. And if you do that, their deck kind of stinks. And Dismember being instant speed, you could play like a Pyrokinesis, but then you have to 2-for-1 yourself. Dismember gets the job done and doesn't get countered by Chalice on 1. So we'll try this. Maybe Pyrokinesis could be even better somehow, but yeah, I like the idea of Dismember. Let's do it. Okay, so we've opened up a hand with Wasteland, Suspending Crashing Footfalls, and Endurance. If they're playing the most popular deck in the format, it's not terrible. If they're playing Tempo, maybe this isn't terrible. Kind of inclined to give this a shot. The opponent's already mulliganed to 6. Now they've gone to 5. It seems like it's either Scam or Reanimator, with possibly an outside shot of like Moonstompy or the Initiative. I really don't see a ton of normal style tempo decks. And it looks like it is going to be the Scaminator. Okay, another blue card. I'd like to Wasteland my opponent. I'd also like to get these Rhinos suspended. Looks like they're going to go for an end of turn Entomb. Yeah, you can have that. So hopefully they commit to an Entomb here, and we can win the force battle over this Reanimate. It's about to happen. Yeah, there it is. I'm just thinking now, perhaps I'd rather burn a Force of Negation here first. Yeah, Force of Negation is like less flexible. Okay. Rhinos on 3 here. Simian Spirit Guide. So do I just Wasteland my opponent and then play this Endurance while they can't daze? I mean, I probably should Wasteland my opponent while they're stuck on mana. I guess they're probably pretty far back, but maybe I should wait until they play a reanimation spell. So the advantage of playing the Endurance now is we get to start clocking our opponent. And we get to play the Endurance around counter magic. I suppose if we draw a blue card, that's also pretty good. So I guess I am just going to fire off the Endurance here. We'll put some pressure on the board here. All right. All right, well, that got a concession. And they conceded the whole match. Well, I guess Rhinos has a favorable Scaminator match. All right, we're on the play for game 2 here. So this hand has counter magic, and then it has the Surveil land to help us find something. So I'm not quite sure what the heuristics are. I think you'd have to mulligan this before the Surveil lands. And now I'd say it's a definite maybe. I think I'm going to try it. So I think I don't want to just play the Hedge Maze and expose that that's what I'm up to. Now this potentially opens us up to Stifle. But if they are trying to hold up Stifle, they're at least not doing anything, and we can just play a bunch of lands. Okay. Okay. A Wild Growth. Okay, probably not the card I want to force a will. But I will set up a Hedge Maze here. But yeah, this should be an Enchantress deck of sorts. Wasteland I'm going to put in the graveyard. Okay. See, that Hedge Maze was sick. So I'm going to ice that forest on their upkeep, and then we can play Shardless Agent. You never know quite what you're getting from Enchantress these days. Like if it's a bunch of like Sithis and other some such things that can be hit with removal. Like it used to just be like Enchantress's Presence and things that, you know, you cannot target. Argothian Enchantress has Shroud, things of that nature. Okay. So I think it's best just to use a Wasteland. I'm cutting myself off from the option of having red mana, but then the Wasteland's already in play. I don't know why I would need red mana next turn unless I draw Minsc and Boo. Maybe it's best just to keep the Wasteland a secret. I guess I'm not sure what the upside would be, unless they got a non-basic on their end step. I don't know. Anyway, we're putting Crashing Footfalls into play. I'm sure that's the right play. So the plan here is to, force pitching Shardless, and then hold up Force Negation and Wasteland them and hope it's good enough. So here's the end of turn fetch land crack. They got a basic plains. Are they going to leave us on some thin ice? So here's the Argothian Enchantress. I'm going to Force of Will that. And here's the on thin ice. So that's going to get a Rhino. Okay, so we're going to be holding up Force of Negation. Okay, we get to Wasteland them. I guess I'm probably taking advantage of that. Endurance, well that's a threat at least. So if they don't Force of Negate anything, we get to add power to the board. I mean, maybe that was a greedy Wasteland because of Serra's Sanctum. But I think you got to take advantage. Although I'm kind of putting them on 3 mana instead of 4. I really don't know how much that matters. So this would make their land every land type, and it's just cycles. I don't think this is something I need to Force of Negate. So they get to draw a card. They're passing the turn. All right, so we get to play Endurance here and add more power to the board. The other mode of Endurance, attack for 3. I guess I'm not doing any shuffling. Oh, they do sneak in a Leyline Binding here, though. Okay. I suppose that is the good thing about their Nylaia's presence. But the good news is we are attacking for 5 still. Okay, Force is potentially not a terrible draw. So, if they play a creature, we might have to burn this Force of Will, pitching Force of Negation. But if they don't burn a creature, then we can... If they don't play a creature, we can Force of Negate it. And then set up a good draw with a fetch land here. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to burn a Force of Negation here. Okay, that resolves. Great, so now, like just another mana or a blue card or a Minsc Boo or a Violent Outburst or a Fire and Ice are all game winners, and we have a bunch of chances to find one of those things. Crashing Footfalls is not one of those things. Wasteland. I would say, yeah, that counts as a thing, because now we can hard cast Force of Will. Cracking that fetch land. Getting that basic forest. An Abundant Growth. I don't see myself forcing that one. Okay, and there's a concession. So sometimes these Enchantress decks play a bunch of Green Sun Zenith effects to get Argothian Enchantress into play consistently. And if that's the case, Brotherhood's End might be a good card. But Hullbreacher is like guaranteed to be a good card. I mean, sometimes these decks play Emrakul, and therefore Inevitable Betrayal would be an exciting thing to cascade into. But I don't think we're going to do that. So I think that Fire and Ice is going to be a dud. I don't know if they're going to be playing that Sithis or other stuff we can remove. Not clear how important Dismember is. I mean, the ice was not terrible there. I mean, Brazen Borrower, I suppose, is really not super exciting. And it might be the case that the ice is better. I mean, the one thing about Dismember is it's going to be terrible or pretty darn good if it hits something important. But I guess I need to see maybe what their deck looks like before I commit to something like that. And that Hullbreacher is at least pretty much powerful against whatever their strat may be. And Force of Vigor is obviously a pretty exciting one too. Of course, we have the Boseiju as well. All right, I'm going to try this. All right, so this hand has the turn 2 Rhinos, and it has a Force of Will. I don't think we can hope for too much better. All right, the opponent kicks it off with Snow-Covered Forest into Utopia or Sprawl. Okay, it's not a terrible draw. That means reinforcements. Another Violent Outburst doesn't look that exciting. It's going to reveal that we have Cascaders in hand, putting that into the graveyard, but I don't think that's a huge concern. Well, this Carpet of Flowers is the actual nothing. And we drew Force of Vigor. Well, that's something I can do with a Shardless Agent, because we're probably pitching Lorien Revealed to a Force of Will. All right, the opponent's cracking their Misty. They're all on green mana here. They're playing the Green Sun Zenith for 2. So they are playing Green Sun for Argothian Enchantress. And it looks like they have Veil of Summer. So that's bad news. The good news is they're stuck on white mana here. And they don't get to play another enchantment this turn. And we get to start clocking them. All right, some Rhinos are in. Wooded Foothills. Yeah, so I'm going to get the Taiga here and keep my opponent stuck on mana and play the Shardless Agent. And then that also puts us in a position to play Force of Vigor next turn, because this will afford us the double green. All right, the opponent got us good with that Veil, but we have 18 power on the board against their 3 cards, and a Force of Vigor cometh. You know, I just was realizing I was counting this Hedge Maze as not an island. But that definitely does give them a green towards the Carpet of Flowers. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, you can do it on thin ice. So they only have 2 white mana to work with here, unless they get more Utopia Sprawls down. Okay, there's a concession. Nice. All right. Our opponent looks like a Cradle control player. He'd like some removal and counter spells and whatnot, but this has turn 2 Rhinos into turn 3 Rhinos. I don't think I can pass up a hand like this. Yeah, so our opponent does Misty into Hierarch, so it looks like it's no lie. So I guess we're hoping to draw a Force of Will. Well, that was a good draw, I'm not gonna lie. I could get tricky here, but I guess I'm just gonna play the Tropical Island, and if they Wasteland, we can Lorien Revealed in response. Well, that's gonna inhibit my ability to Force of Will anything, so that's a bummer. Maybe I should have not played the Tropical Island to maybe have a prayer at forcing something. So I do like playing, unless we draw Fire and Ice here, that would be absolutely sick. But I do like playing Shardless Agent and then following up with Violent Outburst, because the Violent Outburst can beef my team, my squad as it were. Well, we drew Fire and Ice, so I think I have to play it and take advantage of this blessing from the Mana Gods and take out Allosaurus Shepherd and Fiend Artisan. That's just a savage beating. I mean, you'd like to get Rhinos in play, but this is just absolutely brutal. Alright, our opponent plays Bayou. They're tapping some mana. They're untapping another Fiend Artisan. It's really the natural order that I'm concerned about, although this is going to be a 3-3. But I just have so many Rhinos. I mean, they can get a Grist, but I just have so many Rhinos in the work here. Well, god damn it. It never fails. Why would you play the Allosaurus Shepherd second? That was so stupid. But I mean, this is what happens. I guess you just have to force the first available thing versus the Allosaurus Shepherd deck. On the other hand, I guess we're not beating natural order either way. Anyway, here comes some Rhinos. All right. 10 power in play. Okay. It doesn't look like they have a natural order. It's good news for us. It happened 4 mana. Okay, yeah, so they're using the Fiend Artisan to presumably to get a Grist here and take out a Rhino token. Another Fiend Artisan, okay. We draw land also. Okay. I think the plan here is just to attack with a squad. They can trade with Shardless Agent if they want, but then they take 10. Then we have 16 power in play, and they're at 8. They're in a pretty compromised position. Alternatively, I could just attack with just the Rhinos. And then I guess they still take 10. Or they block with Fiend Artisan, and I'd be okay with that outcome. I guess I'm not going to attack with the Shardless Agent. And I think I've done something stupid in that I probably should have used well, I guess I'd be using the Spirit Guide in any case if no, because I'd be using Boseiju. Yeah, this was poorly implemented or poorly done, but I am going to Violent Outburst with a Spirit Guide, I think, so that I can Wasteland them. Yeah, I think I do have to Wasteland them. All right, so here's a bunch more Rhinos. They're at 8. Take them off of black. Yeah, and I guess I'm gonna play the Boseiju of Shame here. All right, so did they draw natural order? It looks like they did. Yeah. Did they not have Allosaurus Shepherd in play? I am so confused. Okay, I guess they sacrificed the Allosaurus Shepherd to the Fiend Artisan back there and I didn't notice. That's really bad. I was just a bit tilted about the drawing of another Fiend Artisan. Alright, well anyway, if we can draw ice, then we're still in this thing. I guess I am going to cycle. We can draw ice or Brazen Borrower. I'll get a Thundering Falls here. Although that doesn't let me cast Force of Will. Alright, I guess I'm just going to get like an island, or I'm just going to get a Volcanic Island. Oh god, I've mismanaged this game terribly. Well, we drew Brazen Borrower. Okay, well, this was a weird game. But, alright. Okay, well, there's a concession. Alright, well, I gotta do better. God damn, that was rough. Okay, now the only way to lose to this deck, I feel like, is for their natural order to resolve. Although their Grist sure gets a lot better against you post-board. But I want to resolve Inevitable Betrayal just to get the stuff out of their deck. But I do like how Endurance shrinks Fiend Artisan. That's a pretty big game. So I can board out the Murktide Regent. See, Force of Negation really isn't very good. But you need to get their natural order target out of their deck if you're boarding out the Force of Negation. And so I guess that's what I like about this strategy. And if they did board out all their fatties, then we're just trying to win. I mean, they probably are going to leave like a Crater Hoof in their deck would be my guess. I need to cut 3 more cards. I'd be cutting Crashing Footfalls based on the way I have it here. So do I just want to try it with this and hope that the Betrayal is good enough? I really don't. I mean, maybe I could leave in like a copy of Crashing Footfalls and cut like a Brazen Borrower. Maybe I could bring in another. I mean, Endurance is pretty cool. But man, keeping Fiend Artisan small is pretty big game. All right, I'm just going to bring in 1 Crashing Footfalls. I don't know. I'm thinking about this now. Maybe post-board we just have enough removal that I don't have to sweat Allosaurus Shepherd. And it is best to beat Natural Order on the stack. I guess we're going to find out. If they kept in a Traxa or a Hoof, I'm pretty okay with that Inevitable Betrayal. So this hand is the old Fire and Ice and nothing else. Probably not exciting enough to keep. This hand, though, is just sort of the actual nothing. Okay. So this hand has Brotherhood's End. And so Endurance probably just has to go back. Although it's not an unexciting card. But, I mean, especially if the Atrax is in their deck, this hand's pretty cool. Once Upon a Time into Noble Hierarch here. Bayou. And there's a Duress. Well, we're going to lose the Brotherhood's End, but keep the Shardless Agent. Wooded Foothills. Well, we have an exciting opportunity to fetch a Surveil land here. Ignoble Hierarch. Windswept Heath. And another Noble Hierarch. Maybe they're angling for a Natural Order here. And they're about to get blown up by my Inevitable Betrayal. Does Tropical Island... I guess I do want the Thundering Falls in case I find my other Brotherhood's End. Although we have another fetch land anyway. But... I mean, it's pretty unlikely I draw the Thundering Falls, but by the time I'd be hard casting Endurance, our 3rd fetch will be online, and I'm just going to get the Thundering Falls here. Another Shardless Agent. Yeah, I guess I'm going to keep the Cascader. So we're a favorite to hit Inevitable Betrayal here. And so I don't know if a Rhino spell disappointment or not, but here we go. Okay, we hit the Betrayal. And they kept in a Traxa. And then it looks like they do have a Natural Order in hand. So what is this Soulless Jailer? I don't want to accidentally take it. Okay, so this kind of is a bomb against my Rhino strat, huh? What with preventing of cascading stuff into play. Anyway, let's get a Traxa and find a Force of Will. Okay, so we found Dismember and Fire and Ice. Okay, well, so Artifact... Violent Outburst is an instant. Which instant do I want? Probably the Dismember, right? Definitely the Planeswalker. Probably. Doesn't really matter which Spirit Guide too much. I guess I'll just take Simian Spirit Guide. I'm taking Dismember so we can dismember a hoof while it's on the stack here. So yeah, we're not going to take Inevitable Betrayal. I am going to take Wooded Foothills. And yeah, Fire and Ice I can't really cast right now. Fury would be better than Dismember here. But yeah, we'll make it work. Here's a Shepherd. Wow, they're not going for Natural Order. Well, I think that has to be good news for us. So maybe they only have 3 Natural Orders in the deck then. Yeah, there's a Fiend Artisan. Okay. There's no real difference between using Elvish Spirit Guide to dismember the Fiend Artisan now and not doing that. I guess we're going to Cascade. You can see if we hit Inevitable Betrayal and get to snag their hoof. I mean, I could play Minsc and Boo. But that does not guarantee victory this turn. Unless they don't block. I think I want to dismember this Fiend Artisan. I mean, I could Petty Theft that Fiend Artisan and hold up Dismember otherwise. I got to think playing Shardless Agent here is just the best play, right? If we hit Inevitable Betrayal, we just win the game. And it's important to shuffle our deck here to get the Inevitable Betrayal shuffled back in. Because it's on the bottom from Endurance right now. Well, we hit the other Inevitable Betrayal. So unless they drew Endurance, we're going to get this Crater Hoof. And yeah, I'd say we're attacking for a lot here. Do I need to Endurance? Or this is definitely enough to kill them that I'm not going to worry about dismembering something here. Okay. Yeah, the thing about the Cradle Control matchup is that they play, like, I guess 3 Natural Orders. And we play 8 Cascaders and 8 Spirit Guides and don't need a creature in play already. And so when we can, cascade into Inevitable Betrayal, it's pretty awesome. It's probably hard for them to board out their Natural Orders because then they're just hoping for Grist and the Fiend Artisan to go the distance. So I believe my opponent's going to be a Grixis control player. Definitely played against them before. And I think that this is a pretty fine hand against Grixis control. What with our Crashing Footfalls. I mean, it's a slow suspend, but that's cool. Well, if we get hit by a Thoughtseize, I guess that'll be disappointing, but we can reload with a Cascader or a Surveil Land. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Do I want to get the basic Forest? Is that important? I'm sure they're not going to play Blood Moon on turn 2. And we have a Force of Negation. If they try to jam a Blood Moon here. Alright, they're on that basic island. We drew the basic Forest. Alright, we'll use Wooded Foothills because that cannot fetch basic island to get a Thundering Falls here. The opponent wants to Bowmaster. I guess I'm not going to fire this right now. I'm okay with taking an attack from this. Because we lose our ability to Force of Negate anything because we will lose our blue card. They can have a Brainstorm. Okay, they're popping off a Ponder here. They played a land that we can Wasteland, and that is a thing about playing Grixis control, is Wasteland is usually pretty good against it. So I could fire the Orc Army and Bowmaster here, but I think I would still rather just get a Thundering Falls. And try to find a Cascader. Yeah, Thundering Falls. A Wasteland. Well, I already have Wasteland, so unfortunately, that one's going in the graveyard. Although I think it's a potentially pretty good one against them. Another Force of Negation. You know, I actually just kind of want to hold up Force of Negation here. I guess I have to Wasteland them off the Volcanic Island while the getting is good. And then I could always Spirit Guide to play this Force of Negation. And then if they do nothing, we'll just fire the Orc Army on their end step. Yeah, I'm not going to 2-for-1 myself to counter this Brainstorm. All right, they're going to get in for 2 here. I'm still just going to do this fire on the end step, but I am going to do it. All right, the Bowmaster threat is no more. A Murky Rege. It's not a terrible card to draw. I think we are going to hold up Force Negation, and that Murky Rege's time will come, but it's not yet. Murktide Regent. It could be like a third Minsc and Boo. It could be a Lorien Revealed. It could be the One Ring. That wouldn't be an awful one here. But it is a blue card to pitch to Force Negation. They're about to play like a Jace or something here. And maybe this being a blue card's pretty important. Okay. So, I don't know if they're going to fight over this Crashing Footfalls. Either way, though, we're in a pretty good spot. Holding up Force of Negation. So I am going to hold up Force Negation through the turn here. Get a Surveil land, and then we can start playing Murky Rege and Spirit Guides. 3 cards. Chaos Defiler. Wow. Yeah. So that's going to handle my my Rhino token here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the Hedge Maze. A Lorien Revealed. Well, okay. We can keep I can resolve a Lorien Revealed. So I guess I'm going to attack with a Rhino. I think I probably have to. I mean, they can attack me down to 8. But I don't want to just sit around and let this Rhino get killed for no value. And I'm just going to hope that Lorien Revealed can find us some action here. Draw us into something good. They are just going to take it. Makes sense. This is only like +1 card advantage because we're burning a Spirit Guide here. Using the green Spirit Guide because we have the basic forest in play. Okay. I think this went pretty well. So we can Shardless Agent and get Murky Rege out and be holding up Force Negation all the while. Ponder you can have. Shieldred's Edict. So that is not something I'm going to Force of Will, given all the fun we've got going on in our hand here. So we'll just fetch to thin. Volcanic Island seems fine. Another land, okay. We'll start with Shardless Agent here and see what happens. So they don't force or anything. Yeah, I think I am just going to play the Murky Reach here. It seems pretty good. So if they attack, they're pretty close to dead. I mean, they are dead on the crackback. We have a Force of Negation. They haven't showed Counterspell all game. So what are these two cards they've got here? Another Chaos Defiler. Okay. Oh, they get to choose the permanent they destroy. For each enters the battlefield or dies, for each opponent, choose a non-land permanent that player controls. Okay, so the only random part is if it's a multiplayer game. Well, this second Chaos Defiler is pretty nuts. I guess I'd have to concede. Unfortunately, we had Force Negation and not Force of Will here. So do I want to block this Rhino? Or I think I do need to block here. Then when I lose my other Rhino. Alternatively, if I don't block, I could go to 2. Then I can Petty Theft the Chaos Defiler. Attack them down to 4. It seems like really hard to deal 2 damage in this situation. I don't know, but if I just block here, that seems terrible also. I think I'm just going to go to 2 and see what happens. Like Minsc and Boo is a draw that could get us there. So maybe that'll happen. Another Shardless Agent. Well, that's a pretty good one. Okay. Okay, maybe we can pull this off here. So maybe we Petty Theft 1 Chaos Defiler. Attack for 10, put them down to 4. Then we play a Shardless Agent. Oh, this thing does have Trample as a consideration, but we'll have plenty of blockers, I think. Yeah, I'm going to do it. We'll give it a shot here. We just got to fade Lightning Bolt, or like a removal spell, basically. But this seems like the best thing I can do. I mean, maybe they have Force of Will here, I guess, is another thing. But no, one of their cards in hand is Chaos Defiler, so it ain't Force of Will. Okay. So yeah, they get to play a Chaos Defiler and destroy a Rhino. They're going down to 3. Undercity Sewers. Are they keeping? That's scary if they do. They're thinking about it. Okay, they kept it. That's scary. A Fatal Push. Okay. Oh, then it's just a Chaos Defiler. Yeah. That destroys my other Rhino. And now they just have to attack. Unfortunately, we came up like a blue card shy. All right. Okay, in this matchup, so Fire and Ice hits Orcish Bowmaster, but that card doesn't even matter. Probably just bringing in Endurance as another clock. I think my opponent got kind of lucky there. Although, me drawing the other Shardless Agent was pretty good. I guess I'll have to go back and really consider if it was possible for me to win that turn cycle there somehow. And the only thing about Ice is I suppose it would be good on those Chaos Defilers. Maybe Endurance is a little underwhelming against the Chaos Defiler. If that's what I'm going to be dealing with, maybe 2 Fires is better. I mean, Fire and Ice is a blue card. Murky Reach does go over the top. And probably Petty Theft is just good enough to deal with my Chaos Defiler problems, even though they get to play it again. That's not exactly optimal. All right, I'm just going to try this. Hopefully we'll get him good with a Hullbreacher here at some point. Sand has Hullbreacher. All right, I'm going to keep. Okay, and I'm just going to kick it off with a Hedge Maze here. Crashing Footfalls. Well, that's going in the graveyard. The one thing is, I mean, it does expose us to Surgical Extraction. So it would be brutal if we got hit by that. Although it would be, they'd be trading their Surgical Extraction for nothing. Maybe I should have thought harder about keeping that Crashing Footfalls, because that would be a thing I could do on this turn, but I probably want to try to play Gotcha with this Hullbreacher. Although I can just fetch a Surveil land, although fetching the Surveil land would still be on the table if I had suspended Crashing Footfalls this turn. It just seemed a little slow is all. Okay, so we are going to get in there with a Hullbreacher here. Should I get the basic forest here? Yeah, this seems like a fine time. So, this Baleful Strix, I guess I should have kept Fire and Ice in and predicted that they were doing that kind of thing. Although Baleful Strix is not the best against Trampling Rhinos. Yeah, this Murktide Regent's really bad against this Baleful Strix right now, and that is brutal. I guess what we're aiming to do here is play like a Surveil land and then maybe we'll hardcast Lorien Revealed next turn. But this Baleful Strix stifling my one of Murktide Regent. Brutal. Alright, Ponder is happening. If only I still had my Hullbreacher in play. They deign not to attack with their Baleful Strix. I probably would have traded the Brazen Borrower for it so that this Murktide Regent could happen. Or at least I was thinking about it in my head. Anyway, here's the Thundering Falls. Simian Spirit Guide. I mean, that lets me play Lorien Revealed, but it's not very strong or good. There's another Hullbreacher. I don't really want to cycle this Lorien Revealed here. The good news is it looks like we're holding up Violent Outburst. They're going to Island Cycle Lorien Revealed. Play a basic island. Play another Baleful Strix. Yeah, the feel bad about not having Fire and Ice in the deck is absolutely brutal. And the opponent has all their Force of Wills, and unfortunately I have no Force of Wills. I just have the stupid Murktide Regent. A Shardless Agent. Okay, well that at least does something. So let's give it a shot. Okay, well at least those Hullbreachers soaked up the Force of Wills from my opponent. This Murktide Regent could have been a Mystical Dispute. Like maybe just the one of Mystical Dispute is like the acceptable amount. Maybe they'll, if we can like trade here, they take some trample damage and I get to reload with Murky Rege. I'm going to be okay with that. But I'm actually going to be trying to reload with Lorien Revealed, it looks like. Although maybe I'm just going to play Murktide Regent. So I guess they were planning on answering this Rhino somehow, or maybe not. Okay, they do just trade with the Rhinos and take a bunch of damage. I guess I'm going to play Boseiju here. I think I am just going to Murktide Regent. Exiling my cards really doesn't matter. I guess unless I Endurance myself. I'm just thinking about whether I should have tapped mana there for that Murktide Regent, but yeah, there's just nothing in my deck. If I had a second copy of Murktide Regent, there'd be a reason to care. Anyway, at least we're playing around Shield Druid's Edict here. If they just hit me with another Chaos Defiler, that's going to be rough. But okay. So at least we played around our opponent's Edict, or our game plan lined up well there. Now if they have a second Edict, that's cool. That happens. Okay. Okay, but now we get to play Lorien Revealed here. When our opponent is tapped out and has already used a couple forces, so... Okay, we don't even have to burn a Spirit Guide. So let's make this happen. Do I want to just burn this Elvish Spirit Guide to suspend Crashing Footfalls with my opponent? Does an extra turn? I think I'm just going to wait and potentially play the Elvish Spirit Guide here. We're just not drawing any Force of Wills. The opponent drawing a Chaos Defiler, and us not having Force of Will is pretty scary. Okay, well now the first order of business is to play this Shardless Agent. Oh, and there might actually be none left in my deck is what's going on here. Because we drew the other one. That's a pretty rough go of it. What are you going to do? Brutal. We are holding up Force of Negation here. But okay, now we're going to get Chaos Defiled. Yeah, brutal. Okay. So I am going to pop off this Brazen Borrower, and at least we're attacking for 3. And maybe we can ride that to victory if they don't have like a second Chaos Defiler. Or maybe by some miracle we'll draw a Force of Will. I guess I really can't complain about my draws. But we haven't seen a Force of Will, I don't think, in this whole set. Okay. So we do get to attack for 3. And I guess these rhinos are technically coming. And we drew a creature. It's another useless Cascader, though. See, we just didn't draw Endurance either. But that's the way it goes. Anyway, we're playing Shardless Agent. If by some miracle they don't have a second Chaos Defiler, I feel like they're going to have a second Chaos Defiler. Yeah, here it comes. Brutal. All right, well, obviously we're not going to block. So the rhinos are still 2 turns out. Fucking Misty Rainforest. Don't mind the F slurs, or F words, I'm sorry. Brutal. Oh man, this was a really irritating game, given how good the draws were. Oh man, but I should have left in Fire and Ice. And yeah, I really don't see how blocking is a good decision here. There's a lot of things that could have gone slightly more right that did not. I think I would accept a rematch. Okay, well, we have the Force of Negation for this Kolaghan's Command, at least. The Murktide Regent was not the right one of tech slot. All right, there's a force to put us out of our misery. And that'll do it. All right. We're on the play for round 5, playing for this 4-1 record. Except my system is glitching. So my opponent has some finishes for Beanstalk, Control, and Goblins. I mean, I guess this hand is a mulligan, but there's maybe against Reanimator, if it was like Black-Red Reanimator that no one plays anymore, maybe you'd keep something like this, or Oops All Spells. Some kind of all-in graveyard deck. But okay, well this hand is pretty serviceable, so I'm going to keep. I'm just going to have to assume my opponent's not on a Stifle strat, I think. I would assume that anyone with a Goblins in their past is playing Goblins, because that is what people do who play Goblins, is play more Goblins. Or maybe a Putrid Imp. The first thing I'm going to do is fire off my Surveil land here. I see a Putrid Imp is interesting. You'd have to say that this is Dredge, right? Although I guess I'm cutting myself off my ability to play Thoughtseize. Sorry, to play around Daze. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway. I guess I'm going to stick with the plan, though. See, I want to know what I'm drawing here. A Simian Spirit Guide. Well, that's not good. Putrid Imp. I guess I'm going to have to force the Putrid Imp. I'm not sure if that makes me an idiot or not. But I'd have to assume this is some sort of dredge. Okay. So we can at least play Force of Negation. Now if I play Wooded Foothills, this prevents me... Like if I have to Force Negate, I don't get the Surveil land. Alright, I'm just going to play the Volcanic Island. We kind of do need to draw something, and I probably will Force of Negate something against this Reanimator or Dredge deck. Oh, this is what we're doing. The good news is we're playing Endurance. Oh, okay, they're crabbing themselves. Okay, it's a crazy Poxwalkers deck. I see. So this is some kind of crazy Hogaak strat is what we're seeing here. What does the Poxwalker say? Where is it? Well, they're probably not going to name Force of Negation. I guess I'm going to Force of Negate this. And, what does a Poxwalker say? So the Gravecrawler is going to get it into play anyway. A 3/1 Death Touch. I don't know. I'm suddenly not happy about how this game is going. The Poxwalker is going to come into play next turn, but on the other hand, they're going to flash it back on me anyway. Is this Wasteland worth doing? Is it better to try to set up? They're going to be playing Gravecrawler. I guess I'm going to set up here and get the Surveil land. Okay, yeah, it's the Otherworldly Gaze. Undead Butler. Okay, Prized Amalgam. So that's going to come into play when they play the Gravecrawler, which I can't stop. Okay. Okay, they have a Hedron Crab. Well, this is all a tricky spot, I would say. But all the endurances post-board should be exciting. Yeah, there's a Gravecrawler. Here's a Prized Amalgam. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. So I'll take my Surveil. So I don't know, maybe I just would have been better off with the turn 2 Rhinos. I do get to bring in Brotherhood's End here post board. I guess I should not give up on this game. But it's not looking good. But the opponent's not threatening for a lot, I suppose, is the upside here. They're only attacking for 8. Well, this is going to be over pretty quick. Cabal Therapy, but they don't have anything else to get into play that matters. Or no more Poxwalkers in their graveyard. I mean, they can put a Gravecrawler into play. They didn't attack. That seems like a misclick. Or are they just playing Hogaak? That must be what's going on. There it is. So that is something we could inevitably betray into. I don't know if that's how good that is. It is an 8/8 is what it is. Here's a Gravecrawler from the grave. There's a Wasteland. Here's a Cabal Therapy. They named +2 mace on their Cabal Therapy. Nice. Alright. Well, there is in fact a Violent Outburst. I don't think this is going to save me, but I guess I can chump block some of their guys. But Hogaak here is pretty brutal. That card does have trample. So I guess I'm going to block the Prized Amalgam and the Poxwalkers. I don't see a way for them to play any more creatures from their graveyard. And then we're going to be taking 12 and go to 4. I really don't know how this ends up as a win. I suppose Brazen Borrower on a Hogaak, something like that. But double blocking Hogaak doesn't seem very exciting. Another crab, but no land, okay. Force of Negation. So I can... Oh, the Poxwalker has Death Touch, of course. All right, so yeah, that's not gonna... This isn't gonna do it. Okay, so post board here. Magus, I think, might potentially lock my opponent out from, yeah, like replaying Gravecrawler from the grave. Or if I get it down turn 1, that could be exciting. Magus of the Moon. Brotherhood's End. Yeah, an Endurance here. Okay. So I think Force of Negation, it hits Cabal Therapy, but is maybe otherwise not the most exciting. I guess I'm not doing the Inevitable Betrayal. I think, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we can cheese a win with the Magus somehow. Maybe Endurance is just going to have to be better than Force of Negation, I think. And then I need one cut. Could be this big old expensive Minsc and Boo. That probably doesn't threaten the board enough anyway. All right, I'll do one Minsc and Boo. Okay, so this hand has Endurance and Force. I think this is close enough to a keep here. Now, if we use the Lorien Revealed, we lose the ability to Force, of course. But we have Endurance. Yeah, a Gravecrawler I'm not very scared of. So I will Lorien Revealed for Tropical Island here. And, okay, an Elvish Spirit Guide. So that lets this Endurance come into play, potentially. I think we're still just pitching Crashing Footfalls to it. Unless something crazy happens here. A Wasteland, okay? Okay, so now is my chance to summon Rhinos. So probably getting Hogaak here would be pretty good, but getting Rhinos really isn't much worse. I don't think. And this is a blue card for Force, so that's an excellent draw. So the opponent hits double black here, and they want to Shieldred's Edict us. I think I am going to force this and then Wasteland them. Okay. Simian Spirit Guide, not too crazy of a draw, but we just got to get through one more turn here. Stitcher Supplier. They're cracking that Misty. So they're playing a Cabal Therapy targeting me. I think I'll just minimize their graveyard and prevent any chance of Hogaak happening here. Although they would die to Hogaak too. And I'm just gonna, I guess, pitch Crashing Footfalls. And at least that, I mean, it'll be hard for them to get like Poxwalkers into play and do things of that nature. I don't know if our opponent has a clever name for Cabal Therapy here. Endurance, probably a good choice. Okay, I think I don't have to, I think we got it from here. Oh, they're targeting themselves. Okay, and there's a concession. Okay. All right, now based on how that went, do I want to change anything else? Magus of the Moon does seem pretty slow on the draw. But maybe we could force like an otherworldly gaze. So, I mean, maybe like just Dismember is okay to play. They're playing the Hedron crabs and stuff that we want to die in general. Maybe I'll just try the Dismembers here on the draw and bring in the Minsc and Boo. Okay. Man, this hand has Endurance. Okay, and they are not threatening a turn 1 Cabal Therapy on Endurance, so that's cool. Spirit Guide, a pretty weak draw. But at least we can threaten the hard cast Endurance here. Putrid Imp, well, I cannot stop it, but we do have this Endurance. Discarding Hogaak. Discarding Hedron Crab. Discarding Cabal Therapy. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna do this Endurance thing. I mean, I'm sure they would name Endurance anyway, unless they name Force of Will. But hopefully this leaves them with not too much going on, and these Rhinos get to come down, and maybe we draw something. Okay, they did name Force of Will. So I'm just gonna Lorien Revealed for the Hedge Maze here. Simian Spirit Guide is not what I'm looking for. They're just passing the turn. That's what I like to see. Oh, they're not just passing the turn. It's a Putrid Imp. Do I want to dismember this? Probably not by pitching the Spirit Guide. Ooh, Endurance. That's a good one. Okay, so I'm going to wait till their upkeep and see if they plan on doing anything with this Putrid Imp. Maybe I don't actually need to do anything at all. I'm going to dismember the Imp. What else is dismember for? And yeah, we can hard cast this Endurance thanks to Elvish Spirit Guide. Okay, they just let that one go. They rip a Cabal Therapy here. I'm going to hope they don't name Endurance. Maybe I should just put the Endurance into play as a 3/4 body. But there's always the chance they don't name Endurance. Okay, Petty Theft's not a bad one. I'm going to get the Elvish Spirit Guide into play here. Okay, so we survived the first couple turns. The opponent has 2 cards in hand. Ooh, they have the Otherworldly Gaze, though. Okay, they just put Cabal Therapy in their graveyard. It's not too scary yet. Are they really just going to play Misty Rainforest and pass? Okay. I can't imagine what they left on top of their library. But anyway, here comes the Crashing Footfalls. Is it like Force of Negation somehow? Let's put these Rhinos into play. A Flusterstorm. Did they think that this counters Crashing Footfalls somehow? They don't have double Fluster. Okay, well, I'm gonna pay. This seems like something they should have put in their graveyard. So I'm not sure what happened here. But even the best of us makes the occasional misplay. And we ripped an Endurance. Savage. Put him down to 18 here. Okay, so we're going to get a Scalding Tarn. I mean, this is their one card. It better be good. Undead Deller dies, put in the graveyard, and then they can return a creature to their hand. So they can get their Putrid Imp back. Oh, they get to mill 3 cards here. Are they going to Cabal Therapy for Endurance? They cannot. That would be funny. Oh, geez. I think I'm just going to Petty Theft this right now. Yep, before they somehow Cabal Therapy away my Endurance. And I'm going to say this one's going to be a wrap. Nice. They're using their fetch lane now probably for a Surveil. Oh, they're going to play a Dryad Arbor? Are we blocking? I can't imagine they are. Well, I'm sorry for this one, opponent. But Endurance is doing its noble work. And there's a concession. Okay. Okay, we did it. We got the 4-in-1. Yeah. Let's have a look at the matchups. Okay. So, yeah, we smashed up on the best deck in the meta. Blue-Black Reanimator. Enchantress. I mean, this deck is gonna... We like Hullbreacher and Brotherhood's End. You have good options against Argothian Enchantress and its ilk of effects. The Cradle control, I think, is, on the whole, a pretty favorable matchup. You just got a Inevitable Betrayal with their natural order target, and the rest of their deck is not very good. Grixis control, those are some frustrating matchups. Although, obviously, the Chaos Defiler is good, and in particular, it's pretty good against Rhinos, what with it being big enough to kill them, and eliminating the Rhinos as they come in and out of play. Those are pretty brutal to deal with. But we also had agonizing draws and never found a Force of Will. And I could have sideboarded smarter by keeping in Fire and Ice. And then we crushed the Neo Hogaak. Yeah, so all in all, this list was pretty much perfect. I guess I would change nothing based on how this goes, except for the random one of Murktide Regent. And I think, as I was saying, like a one of Mystical Dispute, I could see that maybe being okay. Probably not Subtlety. A third Minsc Boo. Just the fourth Brazen Borrower, maybe. That probably would not have been too insane versus the Chaos Defiler either. I don't think having tons of Minsc Boos, these are hard to cast every time I try to run 3. But it is like a bombastic permanent when it comes into play. So, I don't know. I guess I'm going to make it the third Minsc Boo for now. And this is like a good card against Initiative. A matchup I'm always worried about. All right. We're going to leave it there. But that was some exciting Rhinos action. We mostly destroyed our opponents, except for the one time we lost. Yeah, main deck Endurance, I think, is like an easy decision in this meta. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one, folks.